This is Renee Leon with Hollywood Connections, and I have here Jonny Martino from The Godfather. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm so glad I came all the way from Largo, Florida to Orlando to see you.
God bless you. Anyway, listen, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here. Anything you want to ask me, go right ahead, because I get a lot of questions about the film.
Yes.
And how I got started and everything. So, yeah.
So in 1972, Francis Ford Coppola released this movie. He was the director, am I correct?
Yeah, Francis not only was, he actually wrote the screenplay with Mario Puzo, and we started filming in 71. And the biggest question I get is, how did I get into film? Well,
that's what I was going to ask you.
Well, how I got into film was in 1970. I read the book, and I got in touch with the producer Al Ruddy. And Al Ruddy said to me, he said, you know, you look like you might be right for the part of Paulie, but we'll keep in touch. So one day, I called up Paramount, and I asked for Al Ruddy, and they turned around and says, well, he's in New York, they're filming the movie. I said to myself, wait a second. They actually showed me, they said they're shooting. She said, yeah, they are. But what I did is when I called him in New York City, Al Ruddy called me back, and he said, Johnny, where are you? I'm in California. Do me a favor, get in your car and go to Paramount Studio. You're going to audition for a character named Paule Gotto. So I went to Paramount Studio, and I auditioned for Bob Evans, who was the president at the time. Not knowing at that particular time 12 other actors auditioned for Paulie, including Robert De Niro. But anyway, I went home. The phone rang about 5:30 in the afternoon, and the secretary, Bob Evans, the secretary, says, you know, Jonny Martino, congratulations. You're going to New York. You got the part of Paule Gotto. That's how I got the part.
Amazing. And that was really what I was going to ask you, too, how you got the part. And how was it working with all those actors? I mean, here it is, James Caan, Al Pacino, name some of the other ones.
Marlon Brando.
Oh, my God, the number one Marlon Brando. I mean, the number one actor.
Yeah, well, Marlon Brando was my idol growing up. When I was a teenager, and I saw On the Waterfront, and I decided, well, I'm going to study acting, and I'm going to become an actor. Actually, even before Brando, when I heard Sinatra for the first time, I decided I want to become a singer. So I took singing, acting lessons back in the 50s. The next thing you know, I was cutting a record called Babysitting Baby. Got me on American Bandstand, Dick Clark show.
Oh, Dick Clark, what an amazing guy, too.
Yeah, that was a great time, 1958. But anyway, I went back to Hollywood in 1960, and that's where I actually continued my acting career in 1960. But anyway, working with Brando, who was my idol, of course, working with Brando in the film, I never had really a scene with Marlon Brando, but I did looping with him one day, and him and I became very, very close friends, and I was excited to know Marlon Brando. He's an amazing person.
Yeah, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, well, listen, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse, but I turned around, I had to set him up, and it was kind of bad because when I did that, James Caan realized I was the one who set up the father. They told Clemenza, Paulie set up the old man. I want you to take care of that Stroons and make it first thing on your list, understand? And of course, Clemenza says, understood. The next thing you know, they took me for a ride and they whacked me in the movie.
I remember. How many times I've seen The Godfather. The number one is really the hot potato. I mean, that without that one, there wouldn't be 2 and 3. And, you know, I'm just amazed how far it's gone. And actually, I thought that Andy Garcia, I thought they were going to make another one with Andy Garcia. I mean, they still might.
Yeah, well, that was Godfather 3. I think what happened, they took a little too long when they did from Godfather 2 to 3 20 years later. It kind of wore off a little bit, the excitement from 1 and 2. But the 1 remained number 1 in the world only because of the performances. Everybody in the movie was amazing. We all worked so nice together. And it was such a great time to work with those people. Marlon Pacino became a very good friend of mine. I love Al. He's a great guy. He's a great person. And all the rest of the cast. And by the way, anybody that's left is Robert Duvall, me, Al Pacino, James Caan, and Johnny Russo were the only guys left out of 23 major principals of the men in the whole film.
So there was 23 major principals. There's only 5 of you left in number 1.
Exactly, number 1. And there are about 4 or 5 women still left in the film. Diane Keaton, Talia Shire, the young lady from Italy, and I believe the lady that played James Caan's wife is still alive. Yeah, those are the people that are left in the whole film.
Well, also, and Andy Garcia from the third one. He's still around.
Yeah, Andy's around, but he was in Godfather 3 and he did a great job. I love Andy.
Yeah, he did an awesome job.
I met Andy. What a nice person. I met him at the 25th anniversary, and he was such a nice guy. We got photos with him and everything. Yeah, I love Andy, and God bless him. Andy's a tremendous actor, and he did a great job in 3 with Pacino. And, of course, Apollonia was in it. Not Apollonia. Sofia Coppola was in the film. She grew up. She actually was the baby in Godfather 1 when they did the baptism. A lot of people.
That was the baby.
Yeah, she was the baby. Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. That's it. Sofia Coppola. But anyway.
But you're an entertainer. So besides being an actor, tell me what you do.
Well, last year I did an album. I went to the 45th anniversary of The Godfather a couple of years ago. When I came back home, I said to my wife, that was pretty exciting, but no Al Martino and no Andy Williams, they had passed away. But I said, I'm going to do an album, and I recorded Godfather Love Theme, English and Italian. And I got an album out right now with Speak Softly Love.
Wow, do you have that here with you?
Yes, I do. I have the album here. You want to see it up, honey?
Yes.
Could you hold that up?
Wow, this is amazing.
Law. Excuse me, honey. Could I have the other one over, please? The white, the Paramount.
Another one?
The one with the white. No, that's